and welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at Art of J Velez, on Instagram at jvelez622. We're going to review some comics that I like, that I love, and some that I don't like or love. I own all the comic books that I am showing. Even though we're going to be looking at them digitally, I actually have copies of every single comic book that we are going to review. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for coming back to listen to me ramble about my favorite subject, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comics, and I want to share them with you. We're going to be looking at Justice League number 4 from 1987. This series, I've done already 1, 2, and 3. And this series, I think, worked because of Kevin Maguire. Because let me tell you, the two writers stayed on the rest of the time, but it is Kevin Maguire who really made this series sing. Also, the comedy. This thing is not your average comic book. The humor in this is packed in. But when Kevin Maguire left, it just wasn't the same. I checked out after Maguire left as well, but went back years later and just started rereading it and continued. I got the trades that collected. You can get almost all these issues pretty cheap, except for the early ones. But most of these you can probably still find in dollar bins. This run. So if you wanted, to read something that's kind of good and cheap, give Justice League a try. This doesn't, other than this doesn't have your big time heroes other than Batman, and even he ends up leaving. So it's a lot of what I call the B and C list. But we've got this great cover here by Kevin Maguire. This is written by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis. Pencils by Kevin Maguire with the inks by Al Gordon. So we start here with Batman wondering how Maxwell Lord was able to do what he did, like getting into the headquarters, duplicate the signals, and even get into new members into the league. I love this blue on Batman. I understand why DC doesn't go back to it, but I love this blue and have recently, whenever I draw Batman, just went to this blue. I just think it's pretty cool. We got Guy Gardner here, kind of asking why Batman is, talking so much. Of course, Captain Marvel. I'm going to repeat it in case you are a first time listener. His name is not Shazam. Well, it is now, but his name was not Shazam. His name was Captain Marvel. So, this is, of course, when he says, "Why do you keep interrupting? This is serious." Of course, Captain Marvel is a little kid trapped in a godlike body. And he says, of course, Guy Gardner, shut up and eat your Oreos, Marvel. So, Guy Gardner is always rude. So, and we have the title of our story here, Winning Hand. This interaction between Batman and Guy Gardner is just funny. This comic is just this series is just full of humor. So right off the top, Batman's telling Guy Gardner to behave or he's going to have to do something he won't like. Guy Gardner, of course, says he's trembling, and I just love that face. Look at that face. That Kevin Maguire is such a good impressionist, and again, I say impressionist because of the facial expressions. Maybe I should say expressionist. Yeah, not impressionist. And Mr. Miracle says, I can have a new security system designed to keep him out today. And Martian Manhunter just says that, Maxwell Lord is the issue and they need to figure out what to do. Batman agrees with Guy Gardner, or with, sorry, with the Martian Manhunter, and Guy Gardner basically says he should be in charge of this league is going to be a joke. And these guys, I tell you, this banter back and forth, Batman kind of just dismisses him, and he wants to go to the next um, subject, which is Dr. Light and Booster Gold. So Dr. Light and Booster Gold are in another room, kind of waiting, and Dr. Light is very upset at um, Max for creating or for pretending that he was with the League here, and he can't believe that that was bogus, and she kind of fell for that trick. And so he says, it's a copy, a superior copy, and that he has plans for them, and that they'll see. And she throws it at him and quits. Booster's like, "Hey, you can't do that." And Max basically says that he can get her back, and if the needs to, will he'll bring her in. So the League walks in. I love this panel of Batman on the front. Just very cool. I'm telling you, Kevin Maguire is a good artist. Um I recommend anything he draws is I recommend it. He's very good. And Max basically says, "Hey, what do you think?" And Batman just stares at him, and he tries to kind of be political here. I love this part. You even get humor from Batman. It's just this whole part here. I can see you're upset, very perceptive. Hey, let's talk about this like reasonable. And Batman tells him I'm not reasonable. And he says, "Where's Dr. Light?" Um, Max basically says she had to leave, but she'll be back if you want her back. But now he's trying to be kind of like a promoter and sell Booster Gold to, but Booster's just kind of not happy. So he doesn't want to, if they don't want him, then they don't want him. He's not going to beg for it. So on his way out, he basically throws Max under the bus. Good luck with your master plan. You can see Batman and Martian Manhunter's hands, and they're like, "What plan?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing." And Guy Gardner threatens to torture him. And I love Captain Marvel here. He had a neat costume, he says. So Booster Gold is walking out and sees the people, and they're gonna see that he's kind of like a loser, that the League rejected him. So he's gonna go and face them, and unknown to everybody, um, these guys are throwing to explode the security system, and they startle Booster Gold and um, sees the people. So he's gonna go try to rescue some people, and they lose power inside the League, and so Black Canary says that the perimeter grid was blown and they're vulnerable. So he says, "Is it the Guy Gardner here making fun of Batman?" Um, Batman's telling him, "Hey, I can see what you're doing," and Guy Gardner says he's just scratching his head. I'm telling you, the humor. Part of what makes the humor work is Kevin Maguire. It just does not work the same without him. So that's why when he leaves, it just, to me, the jokes didn't quite hit again because Maguire wasn't there to draw it, and I think that his art is what makes the jokes work. So Black Canary sees that Booster Gold is back and he's trying to see what's going on, and he finds the enemies. Now these are C level or perhaps D level villains, but they're called the Royal Flush Gang. So that's who those people were, and they begin to fight. And so Batman is going to um, send, the team's going to go out there. And Batman's going to order them to go. Here's just another thing on the jokes here. You said your new defense energy shield system was ready to go, and he says, consider it gone. So, again, jokes abound. So they take Max. They said, this isn't for you to see. So, they put a security bubble around, but of course, um, that everyone's trapped inside. Batman tells everyone they're just going to observe at that time, and he wants to make sure Guy Gardner understands. Um, it's just, this is so, I don't know, humor abounds. It really works. So everyone is stuck, and one of them uses like a flash bomb, and he can't see. Of course, they use that opportunity to beat him. So he jumps out of the way. He also has his own force field, so they're not getting him, and so he's going to try and beat him himself. It says here, you wouldn't hit a lady, would you? Well, the thing is, and then he hits him because he's from the future. Where I come from, equality of the sexes is a given, so we can hit anyone. And how true is that? You see, when you see videos of women hitting men and men just go and boom, hit them back. It's kind of funny and kind of prophetic here. So they clap, and you know he asks how'd they do, and Batman just stares, and then he smiles and asks if he's in, and then he's like, "Hey, behind you." And we have this amazing, amazing panel here. Um, this big guy, think it's a robot if I remember correctly, but I absolutely love this panel, this page, the composition showing him kind of like, oh my goodness gracious, very clever, um, which is why I like Kevin Maguire so much. And of course, he hits Booster Gold. I think this is an android called Ace of Spades. So, and Batman says, observation is over, go. And sends everybody to attack. Um, he uses fire on Martian Manhunter, and Captain Marvel goes to protect him and get rid of the fire, but then hits him very hard. Says he's been programmed to defeat all of them. And here comes Guy Gardner insulting Captain Marvel, calling him Captain Whitebread. So, it's just funny here. And here comes everybody. And she uses her sonic scream and Martian Manhunter concussion bombs. And he throws the disc at them. He just starts dismantling everybody, and he turns yellow. And during this time, the ring had um, uh, it couldn't penetrate yellow, so that was like a weakness. So, and he turns into fire, says he's gonna burn them all, and of course here comes Batman because it's Batman. So, and he stands up to it, and here comes Booster, and there's a plan apparently between Blue Beetle with Booster Gold. So he's going to take him up to the high and then send him back down. And Blue Beetle now is going to reactivate the that energy beam that is in there, and of course breaks the android in half. To which Batman just says, "I'm impressed." So Martian Manhunter tells him he'll make a fine addition to the team. And then another joke, if only he wasn't so lacking of energy and enthusiasm. To which Batman says we'll get him to work on that. I'm telling you, the humors are everywhere. It's like the guys from Thor, Love and Thunder saw this thing and says, "Hey, that's what I want to make my Thor movie. Jokes all abound." And if you didn't catch that, that means that I'm not a huge fan of that movie because I just thought that it was too many jokes, even including on the serious part, which is what this comic does, but it's just different on a comic book versus movie. And so Booster's not feeling, or not that he's not, he's just achy, and he basically is the league's newest member, and Batman accepts him. And Maxwell Lord is talking to the press, and Batman's like, "We're gonna need to deal with him," and kind of ends with he's not gonna like what we're gonna have to do. But thus endeth our issue here. So Justice League number 4 from August 1987. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.